So I mentioned on Thursday that lines can be written in different format. The first type that we saw was a line like this, 2y plus x equal to 4. And then we learned about lines in the form y equals mx plus c, so y equals maybe a third x minus 7. Usually we don't write lines in this format. It can be convenient sometimes. This is a very convenient way to write our lines because we can see the slope and the y-intercept as well. But there's another way that we like to write lines, and that's lines in the form ax plus by plus c equal to 0. So these lines are basically everything on one side, everything on one side of the equation, and equal to 0. So when we want to do lines in this form, so that's our header, we need to use the equation of the line formula which of course is on page 18 of your formula tables. I call them log tables, even though they're not used for that anymore. We're going to use the equation of the line formula. And even though it's in the log tables, I do recommend that we will learn this off. So this is the equation of the line formula. Y minus y1 equals m by x minus x1. Now that looks really confusing, but it's actually easy enough to use. It's a really important formula. I'm going to be using it a lot. Where, let's write down the meanings of our symbols. x1, y1 is a point on the line. And m is the slope of the line. And just a reminder that x and y will be in our answer. So we don't replace the x and the y, they just stay there. So x and y will be in our answer. So let's look at an example of how we might do that. Find the equation of the line. I'm going to give the line a name. I'm going to call it P, where the point A, 3 minus 2 is a point on P, point on my line P, and the slope of my line is 3. Okay, so we're going to do the slope of a line P is 3, and a point that's on the line P is 3 minus 2. First thing we're going to do, as we always do, is write down our formula. We write it down every time until we know it off. Y minus y1 equals m by x minus x1. What are x and y? Well, they're in our answer. y1 and x1 are my x and y values from the point, and m is the slope. So I label the information from the question. I usually just write it onto the question like that, and then I fill into the formula. Y doesn't change. y1 minus a minus 2 gives me plus 2. Over here, 3 times x minus 3, coming from there. So I'm going to just note again to the side, this is a mistake that a lot of people make. If I'm doing y, take away a negative 2, that's the same as y plus 2. Okay, I'm not finished. So all I've done here is I've substituted into my formula. I've subbed into my formula. But what haven't I done? The next step is that I must multiply out my brackets and then bring everything to one side, because my line must be in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0. And that means everything on one side equal to 0. Everything to one side equal to 0, because I must have my line in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0. Even if the question doesn't ask for it like that, this is how we're expected to answer them. So multiplying out the brackets here, I get that y plus 2 is equal to 3x minus 9. Then I bring everything to one side, minus 3x plus y plus 2 plus 9 equals 0. And I'm going to add like terms, minus 3y minus 3x plus y plus 11 equals 0. And there's an extra step after this. I want the x coefficient to be positive. I want x to be a plus. That's really important. So I'm going to change all the signs. And my answer is not final until I have a plus 3x minus y minus 11 equals 0. It is important that we can write the answers in the format that we're asked for, because it makes it easier to compare and see did we all get the same answer. So if one person is writing down this and somebody else is writing down this, at a first glance they don't look like the same answer. Okay, so that seems straightforward enough. Let's write down a quick note about it. To use this formula, to use the equation of the line formula, we need two things. We need to know a point that's on the line, and we need to know the slope of the line. And if we don't know those, then we can't answer these questions. So let's do an example, a second example, which is slightly different, where it doesn't look like they've given us that information, but in fact they have. So example 2. Find the equation of the line through the points A, which will be 0, 2, and B, which will be 3 minus 4. 3 minus 4. Okay. So if you come across a question like this, it said equation of the line, and it hasn't asked for y equals mx plus c. It hasn't given you the y-intercept and the slope, which means we're going to be doing it by formula. We're almost always doing equation of the line by formula. So the first thing we're going to do is write down that formula. Y minus y1 equals m by x minus x1. Always write down the formula straight away. Will you get marks for just writing down the formula? Not at higher level, you'll need to fill something in. Do we know the values to go in here? Well, we know x1, y1. So we know a point on the line. But my second point is x2, y2. And what I don't know the slope. But can I find the slope? So I don't know the slope. But I actually do have enough information to find the slope. I don't know the slope, but I can find the slope. How? How can I find it? Well, we have a formula for slope as well, which you remember from last week. Slope is the difference between the y values, y2 minus y1, divided by the difference between the x values. Sorry, I started filling in there. x2 minus x1. So we'll go ahead and find our slope. I've already labelled our points, so the slope is going to be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So that's going to give me a minus 6 over 3, which is minus 2. Now I fill into my formula and I get y minus y1, y minus 2 equals m by x minus x1. x1 is 0, and that's fine, we just fill it in like that. So y minus 2 is equal to minus 2x, the 0 is gone. Everything to one side, 2x plus y minus 2 equals 0. And that's my answer. Now, I want to do one final example, and that's one where the slope is a fraction. I'm going to go over this again tomorrow. I just want to introduce it. So we're going to find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line through the point 1, 2 with a slope of 2/3. That's my x1, y1. That's my m. And I'm filling into y minus y1 equals m by x minus x1. So I have y minus 2 equals 2/3 x minus 1. Now, here's where I run into a bit of a problem. So we're going to learn a shortcut, and tomorrow I will explain where this comes from. The bottom number will multiply the y side, and the top number will stay with the x. So the bottom number always goes to the y side, and the top number is always going to stay with the x side. Okay, we're going to learn that as a fact, and I'll explain why that works tomorrow. So we have 3 bracket y minus 2 equals 2 bracket x minus 1. And then I multiplied my brackets. 3y minus 6 equals 2x minus 2, and I bring everything to one side. Minus 2x plus 3y minus 6 plus 2 equals 0. Minus 2x plus 3y minus 4 is equal to 0. And I change the signs. And that's my final answer. Okay, now, so you're going to have a little bit of homework tonight. Question 6 is like example 1, and question 7, which is like examples 2 and 3. If you're getting stuck with these types of questions where the slope is a fraction, don't worry, I'm going to go through it in more detail again tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much.